Happy Monday and welcome to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, where we break down the top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of East Idaho High School athletics. My name is Joel Richardson. Let's bring in my co-host, Mr. Sean Kane, on a Monday evening. Sean, the temperatures have dropped a little bit. Has it kept the kids from practicing, though, here in East Idaho?
I don't think so. It's pretty cool outside.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the East Idaho Prepcast if we didn't bring in a little weather into the storyline here. And I actually just saw there's going to be some freeze warnings in like Jackson and different places. And
yeah,
I love it. The hoodie and shorts weather. If I can wear a hooded sweatshirt and shorts, for the rest of my life, that's what it'd be, because that's like my tennis gear, that's my life gear, that's my life choice.
Well, here in East Idaho, we talk about the weather, and this weather is actually going to improve. So we'll get back to the shirts and shorts by even by tomorrow, I think. And then as the week rolls on, it's going to be back in the 70s and 80s. So just a day of a little bit cooler temps, and we can rock the sweatshirts. Sean, I noticed you're in green. I'm in green as well. My green hoodie. We're trying to support Tanner Scoresby and their family, but we'll talk about Tanner at the end of the show. Really want to reflect on him as he passed away last Tuesday. But we wanted to wear green in support of Tanner and his family and the cause to lift others, lift in our community. But first, Sean, we got to talk about some of the top stories from this past week, including, we promised it, cross country Tiger Grizz happened last Friday. What do we got? Some of the biggest performances, both school wise and player wise. Let's start with the B girls, Sean. What happened in terms of the East Idaho teams at Tiger Grizz?
Well, in the B girls, it was pretty good for East Idaho.
We smoked, man.
Malad 1, Ryrie 2, Snake River 3, Sugar 4, Soda 5, and Lucy Boone, right, of Ryrie. We talked about her last year. She took second place with 1950, or took first place.
Yep, first.
36 seconds faster, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a big enough gap to make it like, okay, you're fast, right?
Yeah, right.
36 seconds at the end of that race is hard to catch up on. So congrats to her, and that's phenomenal for all those East Idaho teams, which Ryrie is definitely a cross-country team I think you're going to be looking at later on as the season goes into that, districts and state.
Yeah, for sure. So congrats to those teams, Malad, Ryrie, Snake, Sugar, Soda, going 1 through 5 in B girls. Let's talk B boys, Sean. Ryrie went first, and this one, it was just Ryrie and Malad flip-flopping. It was the same schools, but just kind of a different arrangement of placing. Ryrie first, Malad second, Sugar third, Snake River fourth, and Soda Springs fifth. And the star of that show was sophomore. We talked about him last year as a freshman, Daryl Dixon. I think it's Daryl. I don't think it's Darrell Dixon. Daryl Dixon running a 16:41, getting first place for Sugar. Unfortunately, though, for Sugar, it was more Ryrie players scoring in that top, was it 15, I think?
Yeah.
And so Ryrie, Malad go 1, 2. Then Sugar comes in third, and then Snake fourth, and Soda fifth for the boys, for the B boys. So we'll be talking about Daryl Dixon for a long time, just like Sean, going back to B girls. Lucy Boone, I feel like we've been talking about her for a couple of years. So we'll be talking about Daryl Dixon for a while now.
At least since she was a freshman.
Yes.
She's always at the top of those leaderboards. And unfortunately, in cross country, so many run. If you're not at the top, probably not going to get to you. I mean, that's a great thing about cross country is so many student athletes can participate. That's one thing I do like about it. I do not like to run for fun, Joel, but how great is it that you get such a good number of people out for it? It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Hey, we got a comment coming in from Sam Buffington on X. Go Diamondbacks. Talk a little football. Talk a little Century from Mr. Sean over here.
Yeah, as I rubbed up my mustache.
Is this the lucky mustache you're not shaving until the Diamondbacks lose?
Well, hey, I don't know. There's some coaches at Century that have mustaches and always have, and they're all named Ryan, something or other. They coach
Fleischman.
Yeah. And
Nice.
I just indirectly had a mustache coming out of summer and just have left it. since then. So I guess right now I really don't really think about it too much until my kids say I look ugly. But right now, where I'm keeping it in solidarity with those guys. So yeah,
Right
we'll get
on.
to them.
We'll get to that. So sorry, we had to go back really quick, do a little sidebar. All right, and then girls at the Tiger Grizz. Not as much East Idaho there, but Thunder Ridge did come in fourth, thanks to Clarissa Earl and Bradley Galbraith. Went 6 and 8 respectively. Did a good job there. And how about those A boys, Sean?
Yeah, we get Skyline at number 1, Rigby at number 2, and Highland at number 3. And speaking of Century, Century's Ethan Hansen, that name came up last year, came in first, and Ammon Bitten, who also came up a lot last year, came in second. So that's a way to take first, or that's a way to do well in the race and take 7th overall, but have the top 2 finishers. You can't be disappointed in a race that way. And I know like Cody Christensen did well for Highland as well. You have a good amount of runners East Idaho, and it's good to see some of those East Idaho teams reign supreme, and Skyline picking up where they did last year, winning a lot of meets. They were a top boys team last year as well. I feel like Skyline sneakily always has a lot of runners. And with cross country, the thing is, it's always like you can do well, but can you go to Boise and beat, Ada County, right? The running,
especially 6A, 5A, right?
Yep, it's so tough. It's so tough, but we've got some weapons in the tool bag, and it'll be fun to see as the season goes on.
Yeah, for sure. So congratulations to all the East Idaho teams, runners at Tiger Grizz. Good job, and thanks to everyone for putting on Tiger Grizz. I really appreciate that support. I want to remind everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on IdahoSports.com's Facebook page, YouTube account, X account. And so you know when each show drops. We're usually dropping here on the East Idaho Prepcast Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And then join us in the live chat, whether it's football, cross country, volleyball, boys, girls, soccer, swimming, golf. Reach out. Let us know. Hit us up in the chat, either live or afterwards. All right, let's talk, Sean. Let's change the channel and let's do a little volleyball, girls volleyball. I keep saying girls volleyball because eventually we're gonna get boys volleyball, Sean. And I don't know when they would do it because you don't want you. There's so many other sports, but as we were talking to Madison's coach during the summer, boys volleyball is coming. It's just a matter of time. Utah's got it. So anyway, that's why I keep saying girls volleyball. For now, it's just volleyball.
Yeah, the one thing I would say about that is going to be tough is I know there's not enough refs all the time. So if you had to have boys, it'd probably have to be in a different season as girls, because I don't think we have the refs to accommodate both those going on at the same time. Maybe if they played at the same time, I don't know, but that's one thing. So again, thanks to all the officials that get out there for volleyball, basketball, football, all those fall things. We appreciate that just extremely.
Yeah, totally. Soccer as well. Okay, so let's change to volleyball. Let's talk Bear Lake. We don't give them enough credit on this show because it's one of those teams where they're always winning. But it wasn't always that case, right? Looking back at Bear Lake, there were times when things were not great. But thanks to Stephanie Birch, head coach Stephanie Birch of Bear Lake Volleyball, she's in her 3rd season. Bear Lake has been awesome the last 2 years.
Yeah, they're last year they're the 4A champs. I felt like we talked about them and they never lost, and they did lose 3 times last year, but I kind of felt like they never lost. Anytime we brought them up, they did such a good job. She won with her senior oldest daughter, Brinley Birch. But hey, that's last year, right? Well, yeah. Didn't matter. Turn the page, flip the year. They're 15-1 right now, 1-0 in conference. They basically haven't lost anything that is in their own conference. They did have 1 loss to Malad, right? Which we know what Malad does in volleyball, and it was close. It was 5 sets. Yeah. So I mean, currently 9 games in a row. They're and now we have to look at that conference play comes up, right? They get Snake River, they get Preston. Here's Preston who moves down. You move down a division. I don't know if that was great for volleyball or not, because you get this Bear Lake team Bear Lake team that no matter what division it is, I think they could compete at 5A. They can compete in some cross pattern divisions. 6A might be tough, but I'd love to see a Bear Lake Madison.
Yeah, well,
matchup.
and I mean, sometimes they have those opportunities, right? In the tournaments, but I think Bear Lake and Madison, I don't know if they've played together in like the what is it called? It's like the best of the best tournament that Madison does.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if Bear Lake does that, but man, Bear Lake has participated in plenty of tournaments. Cokeville, they won that one. Then they went to the Border War tournament, won that one. And then, they've started conference play after playing Marsh Valley and beating Marsh Valley 3-0. So I'm very curious how Bear Lake does the next two games with Snake River Preston, as Snake River is third place, Preston is second place, more or less. That's just overall records, right? Not in conference play. But if you beat Preston and Snake River the next two games, I think, Bear Lake's looking really, really good. Also interesting for Bear Lake is their roster. They're pretty young, Sean. Just a few seniors on this team, and I'm just looking at a lot of juniors, freshmen, and sophomores. So pretty exciting that Coach Birch is starting to has players coming up that that they maybe they played, maybe they didn't play in the championship games last year, but adding more tools to the tool shed. So when it's time for that tournament, they'll be ready to go, whether it's this year as with a young team or an experienced team next year.
Yeah, you've got the tools, like you said. What they've done is they've built, a program, right? You're getting the girls out, you're getting them in the program, the freshmen, the JV, and at the 4A level, you're not having a huge amount of kids to pull from, right? But once you get that program established, it's something people want to be a part of, right? So the people in the Bear Lake area, which I love, right? I went to Bear Lake twice this summer.
Saw those pictures.
Shout out to any Bear Lake fans that have a vacation home on the lake. They need to have me house sit. But yeah, you get a program started. People want to come, and right now Birch is getting it done, and they've got a very young team, like you said, very young team. You see this in volleyball where you get some senior teams that they'll get that 1 year, but when you get programs like a Madison or a Bear Lake or a Malad just is always good as well. Once you get that program going, you get people involved and you get them started at a young age, and it's dangerous. It's as dangerous as a day at the beach.
Nice. Only two seniors on this Bear Lake team. So good luck to Bear Lake the rest of the way, but great job. Last year, 32-3, 8-0 conference play, 4A champs. And then this year, 15-1, like you said, 1-0 in conference play so far. They were on a 28-game win streak until they lost to Malad, but they've started that once again, now on a 9-game streak. Good luck the rest of the way. Bear Lake will be watching you. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Oh, and by the way, Coach Birch, there was a great article written about her. I think it was the Idaho State Journal did a good cover story on her. She owns a club volleyball team down there in Bear Lake. She teaches history, and then she's the girls volleyball coach, and she's wife and mother. So she does it all. She is the all-American woman, and so really impressed with Coach Birch and all that she can juggle, because I can barely juggle three things. You know what I mean? So really great job by Coach Birch. All right, Sean, really quick, let's change the channel once again. Let's hit a little football. Give me one story that intrigued you from this past weekend, whether it's a score or a storyline that's got the juices flowing from football.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go. I have to go. I have to go Century Diamondbacks, right? I gotta go. What does Ryan Skaggs say? I'm gonna go a little homer on this one. I have to bring up the Diamondbacks football program. If you look at East Idaho or District 5, if you said the team that was going to be 4-0 was the Diamondbacks at the start of the season, you were lying. I mean, Highland's 3-1, so they're not far behind. But then you go down to Pocatello and Century. Pocatello 1-2 and Century 4-0, and they got it done up at Rafston. It was on IdahoSports.com. Logan Kelso, we know him. He helps us out a lot, and they were there, and I was texting him a little bit during the game, and man, it's just it's been a fun thing to watch the Diamondbacks play well. And I actually I got a shirt too. I was going to wear it, but I forgot. Coach Fleshman gave me a shirt, and the thing that sticks out to me is he said, he gives, we kind of have a shirt exchange program going on. I'll get him a tennis one, he'll get me a football one. It's not like he just gave it to me this year, but he goes, at least he can kind of it's a little more proud to be wearing it right now. So, and it was sincere, and he meant that, and that was pretty awesome to kind of think about that people want a Century Diamondback football shirt, where you might not.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time,
and that just shows you what they've put into it, what the players are putting into it, and it's fun because they're most of these players are going to be back, right? You have Justice Magnum, you've got Tito Volano doing things. The senior that doesn't get a ton of credit, which I think he should, is Carter Ward. He does the kicking. He's got an interception. He's got a touchdown pass.
Does he still play soccer and football, or is he only football now?
I don't think Carter plays soccer. He does.
Oh, I thought he did.
He does
like last year or something.
He does pole vaulting for track. So he's got the pole vault rack on his car. But Carter Ward, kind of the senior leader, the captain, kind of gets lost, I think, in the shuffle of good things. And the defense is doing really well. The score doesn't reflect it. Century won 42-33, but they did put in all their backups at the end of the game, and Idaho Falls came up with some onside kicks, which is fun to watch, because in the NFL the chances of it happening are so low now that high school or college is a lot more entertaining. But yeah, I got to give some credit to the Diamondbacks, 4-0. And I think I made a bet with a couple news people in the area. I sent them messages and I said, record this. And I said, I see Diamondbacks going 5-0, and I'm almost there. So hopefully the Fleshman and those guys and the crew can keep it going for me.
They play Shelley, and Shelley is definitely a beatable team. Then they play Teton. I think if Century's going to have a loss anytime soon, it's going to be against Teton. Then they have Preston, Pocatello. Century can beat Preston. Century, Pocatello, I don't know. I mean, Century's got all the momentum. Pocatello has almost none, frankly. So I think, man, dude, if Century beats Teton, there is a chance Century goes undefeated. And Sean, not even you, Mr. Homer, had that on your card, man. Like nobody did. No. But beat Teton, and then we can have that conversation. The players aren't allowed to, the coaches aren't allowed to, but we on the East Side of Prepcast can have that conversation. But if you beat Teton, dude, the chips are all in, man.
And it makes me think a little bit back to our good friend of the program, Coach Mossholder from Hillcrest. They went 0-9. Then they come back, and and then gets better. And then last year they're state championships, champions. So it doesn't take much of a spark to start a fire, right? And it's burning. It's burning there, and it'll be interesting to see. I think. You bring up Pocatello. I think Pocatello Sandpoint this week. It's an early game, right? It's in Montana. Mm-hmm. That's a huge game. I think if Pocatello beats Sandpoint, which is ranked like 3 or 4, I believe, 4 now in the max preps. I mean, if Pocatello could beat Sandpoint, they're going to have a lot of momentum going forward the rest of the season, because right now it's not there. But if they beat it like a Sandpoint that's ranked that high, I think the conference is about as open as it could be for business.
Yeah, and Pokey's got players, but we haven't seen, I think, the full package that they can put together week in and week out. So yeah, Century and folks, if you're not sure, 42-33, you didn't watch the game. Century's defense has been fine. Maybe not amazing, but it's been fine. They haven't played great teams, so we got to remember that. And then most of those points, like you said, Sean, came in after the second, third, fourth stringers played in that game down towards the stretch. So those 33 points it's a bit of a misnomer if you're kind of analyzing Century, and if you're doing the pick'em on IdahoSports.com, consider that in your picks for this week. If you're picking against Century, the defense is better than it might look with that 33-point score, because Idaho Falls, again, I think they're still a year or two away, and so Century giving up 33, on paper it might seem drastic, but it's not as drastic as you might think. All right, so that's Century 4-0, defeating Idaho Falls. They next have Shelley, and then Teton, Preston, and Pokey to finish out the season. Sean, I'm going to talk about. Let's talk BK Rigby, because that was a big surprise by a lot of people. BK defeating Rigby 29-15. Rigby was without a few players. I think Amani Morrell didn't play. McKee Farnsworth didn't play. Farnsworth is a lightning fast kick returner, wide receiver. Both those guys were out. So, yeah, you take that into consideration in the loss. But what do you think? Is this are the alarms going off up there in the land of the television?
I don't know. I was, Friday leaving Century. I'm talking to some football coaches, and they were like, "Yeah, I think BK might beat him." And I'm like, I was like, "No way!" I'm like, "There's no way." I think me and Ryan Skaggs talked about it. Like, no way.
It was the easiest pick for me this week, to be honest, or last week. It was just a guaranteed Rigby. Next game.
And I'm on the Friday Night Flash on IdahoSports.com Friday night, just watching this thing update, right? I'm just like, what? Okay, Rigby's going to turn it around. And I mean, they went up to BK. They went, Boise. They went up there. They had to travel. I mean, Rigby's traveling pretty much the whole schedule.
Right. Yeah, so they should be used to that. You know what I mean?
So I didn't find that an excuse. But really, what a big game for, I don't think Rigby has a ton to worry about. I just think it's such a big game for BK, and I might have mentioned this before, because BK's rest of the schedule is not challenging.
Yeah.
BK's not going to probably play another losable game, in my opinion, until maybe the playoffs. If something weird happened, then they just got a first round team that is in their wheelhouse. But people are saying when they played Bonneville a few weeks ago, they could have went up 50 points at halftime. They're like they're like 4th and goal, and they just took a knee. That's like how good they are. They didn't need to score another touchdown. But for Rigby, I think they're in. If the whole team's out there, I mean, I think that makes a big difference when you have Amani Morrell running the ball, right? One of the best running backs in the state, pound for pound.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're in trouble, but I feel like there's a little more parity. I feel like you've got a Thunder Ridge team that's improving every year. You've got a Highland team where I'm still trying to get a read on Highland. They beat
you and me both, man.
They beat Lake City in another kind of closer game, defensive battle here, just right up by my house in Pocatello. And yeah, I just don't know. And then we've got a Madison team that could honestly be undefeated. I mean, realistically,
I like that take.
They could be undefeated. They lost to Hillcrest and Skyline each by 1 point. Two teams that are going to be battling it late in the fall. So you got a Madison team that I know they've had some injuries. I just think that 6A conference is, you didn't need to put any blood in the water for the Sharks to go after it, right? You're like, they want it, someone wants to be the ones to beat Rigby and go on to state and have that higher seed. Because I think that's what it comes down to in the 6A is where you end up in that bracket. Man, makes such a huge difference. Home game, or you're going to Boise probably, however you slice it, if you don't get a home game, just because of the 6A, how it's scheduled. But man, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Rigby has a bye this week, which is good if they are dealing with some injuries. Gives them a week to rest up after all the travel they've done. You talk about travel, Sean. Syracuse, Utah, Rocky Mountain Rumble against Woods Cross, and then Coeur d'Alene came to Rigby. But then they went to Bishop Kelly, lost the game 29-15. They have a break this week. They're on a bye week this week, and then they got Lewiston next Thursday. And then conference play starts. Highland at Rigby, Madison at Madison, Hillcrest at Rigby, and then Thunder Ridge at Rigby. Back to that game really quick. Bishop Kelly, Flowers threw a couple picks, but there was also like a kickoff return for a touchdown at the end of the game. And so looking at 29-15, it was 22-15. Yeah. So I think it was again, closer than the score shows. I think Rigby's fine. The alarms aren't sounding. Coach Gonzalez is too good of a coach to allow things to unravel. But when you're missing your star running back and one of your best receivers, fastest receivers, returners, some things might happen. And Bishop Kelly may have shown them some things that that they hadn't seen on film. Could have been a bad night. It's high school ball. Boyfriends breaking up with girlfriends, right? You got a bad grade on the test, right? I'm just saying, right? It's just we're not professionals quite yet, right? These kids are amazing, but it's still high school ball, and things happen, and that's totally okay. I will say, especially no alarms, because it's such an early loss, and it's. I know we all make fun of this quote, this phrase, but it's a quality loss. Bishop Kelly is always a good team. Rigby has, I don't think there's any worries losing to BK. Their strength of schedule, I think, is going to be fine, especially losing to a BK, as long as BK continues to win the rest of their games. So if I'm a Rigby fan, it's all good. A little bit concerned with the injuries. Hopefully everyone can come back quickly and play the rest of this season. Any other thoughts on football from this last weekend? Sean, we got North Fremont 4-0. Murtaugh beats Rockland. I don't know if anyone saw that coming, frankly. Madison, you already mentioned it, lost by 1. Anything else you want to talk about with football?
I was just going to add one more thing onto the BK Rigby thing. I was just going to say it's probably more of a message to the 5A, right? It's not maybe the same BK. I mean, I feel like the last couple of years we've spent a majority of this podcast going, "Oh, BK's good. They haven't beat anyone."
But right? taking a step back. Yeah, they're not the world beaters.
They're always good. They just haven't, crossed that threshold. But I think that, that bat light in the shape of a knight is up now, and the teams in the East better, look at it. It's not going to be. I think that's the most important thing to take from that is Bishop Kelly is going to be a team that you're going to have to deal with. And I think that's going to be really important, right? You want to be on the other side of the bracket. And we have 2 teams in East Idaho that I think are going to be fighting to be on the other side of that bracket when it push comes to shove. And then to get your point, I'm going to have to go Soda Springs. They get their first win since October 2022, 13-8 over Firth, which I that's another one I did not see coming.
Nope, I had Firth. I had Firth permanent markered in.
Yep, and Firth has always been a good team, a playoff team, right? Over year in and year out, Firth the playoff team. So Springs went through so many. There's always something going on there, which for better or worse, it's got to be difficult for a small community. So what a great win for Soda to get back in that winning column. For all the kids, because we know football is big. Everyone goes. It's a huge attraction. So, we had to get a shout out to Soda Springs and getting their first win in a very long time.
Yeah. Good call, Sean. Want to remind everyone, this show is brought to you by Ideal, a state-sponsored tax advantage savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school, apprenticeship, or even student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. Really grateful to Ideal for helping get this show on the air, live and free for you. And if you're looking for scores, schedules, updates, game streams, live games, live and free, go to IdahoSports.com. That's who sponsors this show, the East Idaho Prepcast. And make sure you like and subscribe to this show so you know when we're dropping the show. Again, usually Monday nights at 8:30. It's Sean Kane. It's Joel Richardson here on the East Idaho Prepcast. Sean, let's finish tonight with why we're wearing our green, man. We did our show last week highlighting Tanner Scoresby and the fight that he's been battling with cancer for it's been about a year now, I think, maybe I think more, but he fighting like crazy, man, and all the support from his family, friends, teammates. We've seen support come in worldwide from people across the world, and just such a great dude. But after our show Monday night, Tuesday, we got the call that Tanner Scoresby had passed away after fighting that cancer for a long time. And tough moment for East Idaho and for the entire state of Idaho, as Tanner Scoresby played football, tight end, wide receiver, then played basketball in both those sports. He was a great athlete. And you and I had a chance to watch him a little bit. So we wanted to end the show just talking about Tanner and our memories of Tanner, and just showing our support for his family and teammates, school at this time. Again, Tanner, he had graduated and has been fighting this cancer, since that's his senior year, and as 18-year-old, and then passed away last Tuesday. But we got to see him play before the cancer started, before he started fighting that cancer. And so just want to take the next little few minutes, Sean, and remember Tanner, and you and I had a chance to watch him. Go ahead.
Yeah. And we were talking about this, and I definitely remember going to Thunder Ridge. I think it's the first game I've ever done at Thunder Ridge. Might have been your first game.
Yeah. Well, it was my first full season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was 2 years ago, 2023, August, I think it was 2023.
Yeah. We went to Thunder Ridge. Travis Hobson, the AD, kind of helped us out. No, it was great. It was a great place to go. And they were playing Minico. I do remember that. And Minico had the 3-name guy, right?
Yeah.
And it was
Preston Sonner Cranny.
Yeah, tough. It was a tough game for Thunder Ridge, and you just could see Thunder Ridge was so close. The quarterback just couldn't quite get there, but Tanner Scoresby made some incredible catches that game. It was pretty phenomenal. You could tell he if they just, if he would have had like the senior quarterback that played 3 years, they would have been in trouble.
Yeah,
because Tanner could get open. He was big, lengthy. He's like a Colston Loveland, right? Kind of tight end, able almost more of a receiver, but big enough to block, and did such a great job there. And it was just a phenomenal performance from someone that you don't really, you don't think going back, right? When you go and do, how many games, I've done in the past 5 years, you just don't gather what that's going to mean later on, right? That's the cool thing about Idaho Sports, is that we have this community and fans and people, and then we have a place that stores it all, right? And you can go back and watch, and we can remember the great things. And it's been just an honor for me to be a part of it and all the student athletes' lives. But I'm really proud to say I got to see Tanner, and maybe you're going to talk about this, but we also did basketball too. And he was a scrappy basketball player. I wouldn't say basketball was maybe his like forte. He was more of a football player playing basketball, but I mean, that's Idaho basketball in a nutshell. We get your best athletes, get them out on the court, and it's really fun.
Yeah. 3 games, right? We did a football game with Tanner, and we did a basketball game with Tanner. And I remember he was scrappy. He was actually on the coaches kind of talking to, I think it was Madison Thunder Ridge. Because the other game was football. I think it was Thunder Ridge and Hillcrest, I believe it was, or Thunder Ridge and Skyline. Anyway, but that basketball game, he was on the coaches' scouting report, because he was so scrappy, because he said, hey, Tanner Scoresby, he may not like score a bunch of points, but he's going to be everywhere, and he's tall and lanky. We got to watch for him. We got to make sure we're keeping him on the weak side. We're watching him on the weak side, because he's going to come over and make a play every time. And sure enough, he was exactly that. So it's just really, really cool. And Sean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Because the nature of Idaho sports allows us to highlight these kids substantially, because it's on the website, and the games and the games and the stats are there, so we can look at how they did, what they did, and you don't just need to take our word for it. You can go there and watch his stuff. But that's my memory of him making plays in the football field when the play wasn't really there. As a wide receiver tight end, I remember his first play. He goes up on the sideline, catches it when, again, he had no business catching it. And we were both like, whoa, who is that? That's Tanner Scoresby, tall, lanky, and aggressive. And in a game where there weren't a lot of highlight plays for Thunder Ridge, a lot of positives, and in a season, and he was just a junior when during this game, he caught our eye. And we thought, watch for Tanner Scoresby moving forward, and sure enough, had a really nice season. Playing for Thunder Ridge, tight end, wide receiver, and same with basketball. Scrappy, just a great fun kid to watch.
Yeah, he was kind of like a Dennis Rodman. He's just kind of hustling. I think he dunked one maybe at the game we were at. I can't remember totally. We'll just say he dunked one.
I like it.
But he was just scrappy. And this is that Madison team that had Bear Wilson. Like, this Madison team was just unreal, tough to play. And Thunder Ridge, I played them pretty well. It was a good game. And I remember just Thunder Ridge was not as deep in the bench as as Madison, but they just kept fighting, and they weren't able to win the game, but it was definitely a fun experience. There was a lot of fans there at Thunder Ridge, so just good memories, and I'm glad even it was actually me and you got to be a part of some of those memories for that school, that family, and the community. And Thunder Ridge just they've had a lot of kind of chips happen, fall the wrong way for them as well, kind of like soda. And these things will make everyone stronger and push you in the right direction. It's always cloudiest before the sunshine, right? And I think that's where we got to look at. There were so many positive and good things around Tanner Scoresby, and I'm glad and thankful that I got to be a part of those.
Yeah, 100%, man. And finally, just want to thank the community for all their support. And we haven't talked to the family. We haven't talked to Tanner's friends or coaches, but I've seen most, if not all, the Facebook posts sent out by the family. Tanner Strong and net, like I can't remember the line, but cancer never. But just it's been so cool to watch the support here in East Idaho. But then not just East Idaho, not here in District 5 and 6, but throughout all of Idaho. We already mentioned the United States and the world, friends, family, fans throughout the world trying to support Tanner Scoresby. Sean, I had a cousin who lives in LA. And she reposted when the family was posting stuff about go to TannerScoresby.com and find out how you can help, and donating to the GoFundMe account for all the medical expenses and the travel. And she was reposting, and I asked, and I saw her say, or like someone asked, "Oh, how do you know Tanner?" And she said, "Oh, it's a friend of a friend." And just people out the goodness of their hearts reposting things. She didn't know, my cousin didn't know Tanner Scoresby from Adam. But because she saw a friend post it, it mattered to her, and she reposted it. And I saw that the last few years as Tanner's been fighting this battle. And so it's so cool. We talk about the East Idaho community, but how about the Idaho community? How about this world? And with the current events that we've been having, man, it's so cool to see so much positivity. I think we got to remember, as much negative as there is, there's just as much positive. And let's focus on the positive. Let's go out. Hug our loved ones, be a good neighbor, get out in the community, go support your local football team. Go watch a game, go cheer on those kids. Try not to yell at the refs too much, right? And be a positive. Promises. Yeah, I know, no problem. But be a positive light. I think you and I, we have kids, right? And we can't imagine losing any of them. Luckily, the Scoresbys I know they have God. They have their family, they have their church, the greater Idaho Falls, and especially the East Idaho community. And we know the entire Idaho and the states and the world looking out for them, giving them a virtual hug or a physical hug, and supporting them. So just want to thank everyone. For Sean Kane, I'm Joel Richardson, saying thank you. Thank you for supporting the Scoresbys. Let's continue to support them how we can. And we'll catch you next week on the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.